Have you ever looked in the mirror and seen a man you do not fully respect? Not because you are weak, not because you are a failure, but because a part of you, a shadow in the quiet moments, is still a slave to lust. You build discipline in the light. You train your body, you sharpen your mind, you work. But when the world is asleep, when the screen lights up in the dark, you surrender. Lust does not knock down the door with a war cry. It does not stab you in the chest, it whispers, it smiles, it waits, and piece by piece, it eats the soul of men who believed they were strong. This is the silent battle. No applause, no medals, just you. Against the enemy that lives inside your own skull. Miyamoto Musashi understood this war, and in his final writings, he left a warning, etched in steel. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. This is not a soft suggestion. It is a scar, a law written in blood, because Musashi knew a truth that most men today have forgotten. Lust is not a craving. It is a trap. It promises pleasure, but it delivers weakness. It offers comfort, but it demands your power in return. It is a slow poison that dissolves your will, softens your spine, and leaves you empty. This is not just about the obvious temptations. Lust today wears 1,000 masks. It is in the endless scroll of your phone. It is in the constant, knowing hunger for the next stimulation. This is not a minor flaw in your character. This is the central spiritual battle of the modern man. Before you can fight it, you must first see it for what it is. You must see the trap. You have chosen isolation. You have stared into the darkness of your own mind and met the real enemy. Your own thoughts, but this enemy does not fight fair. It does not meet you on an open battlefield. It uses a modern form of guerrilla warfare. Its weapon of choice is distraction. I remember a time when I was drowning in it. Every attempt to work, to build, to create, was sabotaged by the endless scroll. The constant comparison, the quiet poison of a mind pulled in 1,000 different directions. I was sinking. Then, I found a war manual, disguised as a book, the Book of 5 Rings, and one line from Musashi struck me like a blow to the face. If you know the way broadly, you will see it in all things, and in that moment, I understood. I was trying to fix my life in pieces. My body, my money, my habits, but I did not have a way. I did not have a code. Musashi lived by one singular code: be prepared to die, but never unprepared to win. That philosophy did not just guide his sword. It guided his every waking moment. It was the lens through which he saw the world. After that realization, I declared war. I deleted everything, every application, every excuse, every digital escape hatch. I began to treat every hour not as something to be managed, but as a duel, life or death. And the mind began to change. Less noise, more edge. Less emotion, more clarity. Less reaction, more control. This is what Musashi teaches you. Not how to be happy, but how to be dangerous. To become a weapon, you must first eliminate everything that makes you dull. You must kill distraction, or be killed by it. You have declared war on distraction. You have adopted a singular code to guide your every action. But now, you must face the enemy within the gates. The saboteur that lives inside your own heart. Emotion. Miyamoto Musashi once said, the primary thing when you take a sword in your hands is your intention to cut the enemy, whatever the means. That is not just about battle, it is about life. Your intention, your purpose, must be the single, cold, clear light that guides your hand. You cannot build a mind like Musashi's if you are constantly reacting. You cannot build anything of worth when your decisions are hijacked by the storm of your feelings. Most men fail under pressure, not from a lack of skill, but because they never train their emotions to be silent. You can give a man the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity, the perfect tool, and he will still choke because his fear outranks his focus. His anger outranks his strategy. His doubt outranks his discipline. True mastery, Musashi taught, is a mind that moves with no hesitation, not because the path is easy, but because the inner noise is gone. He did not become a master because he was born without feeling. He became a master by killing the chaos inside himself. He trained until his mind was quieter than his own breath. Pain, fear, praise, even death, all became just data, not commands. In today's world, this kind of emotional restraint terrifies people. When you do not react, they do not know what you are thinking. And when they do not know what you are thinking, they begin to fear what you might do. So, ask yourself, when you are disrespected, when your plans fall apart, do you act from principle or from panic? If your emotions still run the show, you will never move like a warrior. Once you master emotion, you master execution. And once you master execution, you do not need to talk about power, you simply become it. You have learned that emotion is the enemy of execution. You have begun the work of silencing the inner noise. But there is one emotion that screams louder than all the others, one that paralyzes the will and shatters discipline: fear. How do you kill an enemy so fundamental? Miyamoto Musashi did not try to outrun it. He did not pretend it did not exist. He faced it. He invited it in. He meditated on death daily. This was not a poetic exercise. It was a strategic training regimen. He would literally imagine himself being killed, torn apart, forgotten. He walked through the darkest corridors of his own fear until they became as familiar to him as the grip of his own sword. Why? Because once you truly accept death, you rob it of its power. And once you stop fearing the ultimate loss, all lesser fears become insignificant. Think of the 1,000 small decisions you avoid out of fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of what other people might think. These are the chains that keep good men small. But what if you had already made peace with the worst possible outcome? What if you moved through the world like a man who had nothing left to lose? That is when you stop reacting like a civilian and start acting like a weapon. This is why Musashi was terrifying. Not just because of what he could do with his blade, but because of what he had already faced in his mind. He did not fear pain. He did not fear loneliness. He did not fear death. And a man who fears nothing is a man who cannot be controlled. He is a man who cannot be broken. He becomes untouchable. This is the armor of acceptance. Make peace with your own mortality, and you will find a freedom that few men will ever know. You have made peace with death. You have wrapped yourself in the armor of acceptance. And now, you are untouchable. You are free from fear. But there is a new enemy waiting for you, one far more insidious than fear. It does not attack you with threats. It seduces you with promises of comfort. It is the great poison of the modern age. A weakness that disguises itself as self-care. You have heard its whispers. Take a break. Be gentle with yourself. Protect your peace. This is the philosophy of the fragile. The mantra of the man who seeks to avoid the storm. No, Miyamoto Musashi did not protect his peace, he earned it by walking through fire. Your mind does not get stronger by avoiding stress, it gets stronger by conquering it. You do not grow by feeling safe. You grow by walking into the heart of your fear, fully aware that it might destroy you, and doing it anyway. The modern world wants the strength of warriors, but not their discipline. They want power without suffering, wisdom without scars, but there is no such path. There has never been such a path. Musashi gave a command to all who would follow his way. You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor. And what is honor? It is refusing to betray your own potential. It is refusing to choose comfort when the path of fire is what will forge you into the man you were born to be. Do not be seduced by the trendy gospel of weakness. Your peace is not a thing to be protected. It is a thing to be forged in the crucible of hardship. True self-care is not a bubble bath. It is a blood oath to your own potential. Walk through the fire. That is the only way. You have rejected the poison of comfort. You have chosen the path of fire. Now, you must learn the discipline that sharpens the blade of your mind more than any other. You must learn to embrace silence. Miyamoto Musashi spent the last years of his life in a cave, alone, writing, thinking, dying slowly, but with absolute grace. He did not fear the silence. He became sharper inside of it. The modern man cannot sit in silence for 5 minutes without descending into panic. He needs noise, constant stimulation, a podcast in his ears, a screen in his face. Anything to run from the one thing he truly fears, the voice inside his own head. Musashi ran toward that voice. He confronted it. He sat with it. He wrestled with it in the dark until it fell silent. He understood a fundamental truth. A man who is a slave to his own thoughts can never be a master of anything. This is not a spiritual practice. It is a training regimen. The more you train your mind to sit in stillness, no music, no scrolling, no talking, the more you separate yourself from the chaotic chatter of your own mind. You begin to see your thoughts not as commands, but as suggestions, suggestions you can choose to ignore. This is the beginning of true freedom. This is where you build the fortress. Because once your thoughts stop controlling you, you begin to control everything. The world can scream, the chaos can rage. But inside the silent fortress of your own mind, you remain calm. You remain in command. Master the silence. And you master yourself. You have built the silent fortress. You have become the master of your own mind. You are calm. You are in control. But this is not the endgame. This is merely the sharpening of the blade. Now, you must learn how to use it. Here is what they will not tell you. Life is brutal. People will lie. Friends will vanish. Plans will fail. You will be betrayed, mocked, underestimated, and left for dead. And no one is coming to save you. Miyamoto Musashi understood this better than anyone. So he trained his mind not just to be calm, but to be a weapon. A blade forged not to cut others, but to cut through the illusions of reality itself. No fear, no fantasy, just clarity, precision, purpose. This is the final transformation. The world is a storm. The average man is a branch, tossed about, broken by the winds of fate. He hopes the storm will pass. He prays for calm weather. You will not be the branch. You will become the storm. You will move through life with the relentless force of your own will. You will not be a victim of circumstance. You will be the cause of your own effects. And if you do this, if you build a mind that does not flinch, does not beg, does not need, You will scare people, not because you are cruel, but because they will see in you something they no longer recognize, a man who cannot be broken. A man who walks into the chaos and emerges not just unharmed, but stronger. The world is full of noise, but Musashi teaches you to become the silence inside it. The world is full of fear, but Musashi shows you how to walk into the storm naked and leave calm. This was never about swords. It was about your mind, your code, your future. Build a mind so strong they can take your money, your status, even your body. But they will never, ever touch your soul. And in that silence, in that deadly calm, you will finally become the blade.